Hey, welcome. So, this little conversation would only be of interest to you if, A, if you're an alcoholic dad in recovery, or an addict dad in recovery, or if you're married to an alcoholic or an addict dad in recovery, or not in recovery even, or if your dad is a alcoholic or an addict in recovery or not, then this might be of interest to you. So I mean, we all have a dad, right? We all have a dad, and some of us got to know our dads, and some of us didn't. So we're doing I'm involved in a training. It's just been such a gift to me to be helping men who are dads in recovery. And, I've been a dad in recovery for 42 years, well, almost 42 years. And just by the grace of God, really, it's all kind of seemed to have worked out. What can we say is success? I mean, my kids are still alive, are still talking to me, and still love me, and still want to spend time with me, and that's I guess a measure of success, isn't it? And two of them are in recovery, so we think we broke the chain, and that was a lot of guys, a lot of men that I talk to who are dads or who are addicts or alcoholics and want to break the chain. They're like, yes, I want to break the chain. The conversation tonight, actually, our group is tonight. The conversation tonight is to the dads that are in my courses, is about their dad. Because many of us are dads. If we're addict or alcoholic, many of us had dads who were addicts and alcoholic in one way or another, whether they got recovery or not, or whether they were aware of it or not, or whether, they weren't always, alcoholics and addicts don't always have to burn the house down, right? I know lots of people who are what we call functional, they're not really available, but they're functional. And I was like that some of my career as an addict, an alcoholic. I was pickled, a little bit pickled. I wasn't always falling down drunk or fighting with cops, or, so I was just kind of, numbed. And so many of us had dads that were kind of like that. And some of us had dads that disappeared and we didn't see. And I have guys in the course who are angry with their dads, or disturbed with their dads, because they didn't show up. And so a lot of what, going forward as a dad in recovery, the whole message in the course is that, what would love do? And it talks to us in our recovery program about, talks about in our 4 and 5, that we really see that other people were not well. We're dealing with resentments, right? Or we're dealing with fear, and we see where other people are not well. And what I hope to do is help the men to go past just what we call forgiveness. That's a nice thing, to forgive the transgressions of our fathers. But I'd like to go past that, and I'd like to help the men go past that to love. So, past acceptance, past forgiveness, but into actual love, no matter what our dads did or didn't do. How can we love them? And I think if we don't find that place of love, we're very likely to carry the behavior into our own parenting. That's the things we thought we'd never do. We hold on to it with any energy of anger. any energy of not accepting, or judgment. We hold on to it. And so that's the program tonight. I don't know if you've been watching my videos. The last 4 or 5 of them has been to talk about what's next in the course. And and last week we talked more about relationships with our children. Some of us have adult children, and so the part of our relationship is reaching out to them and actually having a relationship with them. Recognizing if we're a little codependent, how to let go of that and recognize that in a way, they're not our kids, they're God's kids. And we just get to kind of be the custodian for a while and give them, some tools. Hopefully we give them tools of love and not tools of fear and anger, guilt and shame. And the week before, we went really deep into the conversation around the mothers of our children, because often it's really easy to stay angry if we've broken up, and we don't realize, men often don't realize that we've broken the trust so deeply with the mothers of our kids. Often we've broken the trust, even if we're still together with them. It takes a long time to rebuild the trust, So we went deep into that and to look at that. Let's get past the anger, or men taking their mothers of their children to court. Mom, I've never met a mom who really didn't want their child to have a father. It's just they all do, but they want you to be that guy they can trust. So it takes a while to rebuild that. Yeah, it's funny because we're often like adolescents. We are dads, but sometimes we're so friggin' immature, and we're running around stomping our feet, wanting our way. So the message in the course around that relationship with the mother of our child is like we're rebuilding trust. So it's a trust building, and it might take a long time. Sometimes it's so damaged. Yeah, and healing the relationship with our own dads is part of that, right? Because we get to see the things that we said were unacceptable in the relationship with our own dads are the same things that sometimes the mother of our children saw as unacceptable behaviors that we had. So we get to see ourselves through really looking at our own dads, right? So that's it. We're deep in it, and every time we do an hour and a half, 8 weeks. And I'm going to do another one. I've had people asking me when's the next one, and there's such a an area, so many people are touched. I think there's 35 kids in our course. These are the children of the men who were in our course. And and it's just, I'm so honored to be able to touch those lives and hopefully touch them with love. Yes, that's the deal. So that's it. That's my message today. If you know of a dad in recovery that's sometimes if they're in real trouble, it's even better, because they're more willing to really look at themselves. So he's a dad in recovery, and and he's having trouble getting custody or getting even to see his kids. I like those guys. I can help them, But if you're a dad in recovery and you just really want to look at the whole thing, we can. I don't go selling this. I'm just like we put it out there, and it's not for everybody. I'm not really interested in having a bunch of guys sign up that aren't wanting to do the work or aren't going to make themselves available. But if you're a dad in recovery, you know a dad in recovery that you feel that this would be helpful for, I'm going to start another one of these, and we're probably only going to do 2 or 3 live ones, like I'm doing them right now, they're amazing. And then we're going to go. It'll be like a course online, and it won't be live. And what happens is that then these guys, as they go through the course, we bring them into a private Facebook group, so they have the support of the other dads that have gone through the course, and it's that is working. You know, it's I'm enjoying that. There's the men have put pictures of them and their kids up, and that kind of stuff in the Facebook group. It's really it's it's amazing. They're very vulnerable, lots of love. So that's it, you guys. Love you lots. Yeah, thank you for your support and your love as we've gone through this, and talk soon. Cheers.